Welcome to the Candidate Forum hosted by the League of Women Voters of Elmhurst. My name is Patty Lackman, and I am from the League of Women Voters of Central Kane County. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that neither supports nor opposes candidates or parties for any office. The League's purpose is to promote political responsibility through the informed and active participation of citizens in government. Providing this forum allows citizens to become better informed about the issues facing their community and to become better acquainted with the candidates running for office. We are happy to provide this service for the community. The League of Women Voters is not responsible for verifying the accuracy of the statements that candidates make in this forum. At this time, I would ask that you please turn off cell phones and other electronic devices. I would also ask that you refrain from applauding or in other ways demonstrating support or opposition of any candidate. No campaign literature may be passed out in this room, and feel free to put on your campaign bling once again when you leave the room. Note cards and pencils have been provided on which the audience may submit your questions. Questions will be screened only for duplication, clarity, and appropriateness to the office being discussed. Please signal a League volunteer when your question is ready for submission. Also, signal a volunteer if any additional note cards are needed. Realize we may not get to all of the questions. This particular part of the forum is concerning information on the DuPage Forest Preserve referendum. There will be a presentation by DuPage Forest Preserve President Daniel Hebreard. Questions from the audience will follow. Mr. Hebreard.
Well, thank you so much. So I always like to make sure the audience knows who I am. So I am Daniel Hebreard, your Forest Preserve President. I was born in Downers Grove, graduated from Downers Grove North, went down to the University of Illinois, got a degree in Parks and Recreation Management. Actually,
is that mic green? Someone trigger that mic off?
How do I trigger it back on? Oh, I got it. That's on. Can you guys hear me now?
Can you start from again? Yeah.
Oh man, all right, they get to hear it twice. So I am Daniel Hebreard, your Forest Preserve President. I was born in Downers Grove. I went to Downers Grove North High School, went down to the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana, got a degree in Parks and Recreation Management. As I was telling my Park District associates, I started my career at the Oak Brook Park District as an intern, worked down in Palos Heights and Yorkville at their recreation departments. Became a ranger at the Forest Preserve District in 2005. Went back to school to get my master's in business administration from Benedictine University. Graduated with that in 2007 and got promoted to senior ranger. Enjoyed my time immensely, so much that I wanted to get into leadership. So in 2018, a few years later, I ran for president, was elected, and then this is my second term, so I was elected again in 2022. My wife and I reside in Woodridge with our 2 children, and my son is now a sophomore at Downers Grove North. And I'm obviously here to tell you about all the exciting things happening at the Forest Preserve District. So, as you can see, we've got a ballot initiative. We're funding our unique mission as we're the only ones trying to work on the flora and fauna in DuPage County. And we want to make sure that you guys have all the facts about the 2024 referendum. It is called the Forest Preserve District of DuPage County to improve and maintain woodlands, prairies, wetlands, waterways, and wildlife habitat. So that's what you will see on the ballot. So our purpose, as you can see there, is we're buying land, right? And then we're going to improve that land, the flora and fauna, but we're really doing it for the pleasure and education and recreation of our residents, for all of the people who come out to visit. That's our ultimate goal. 26,000 acres, obviously that's a nebulous number, it's a lot. It's 1/8, so it's 12.5% of the whole county. So we are the land leader in the state. No other organization owns as much of a county. Obviously, it's not the biggest county, so Cook County is nearly 70,000 acres, but because we own 1/8, it's a pretty big deal here in DuPage. That 175 miles of trail doesn't include all the local trails that we partner with in our park districts. The county actually maintains the Prairie Path and the Great Western, so DuPage is known for having some fantastic trails, and we really take pride in our maintenance of ours. I'm going to get into a little bit more about our rivers and streams and the quality and the work we've put into that. So I was just chatting, and we were talking about all the different things that municipalities and even the county have to really have a broad tax base. Just like the Park District or libraries or schools, we're just on the property tax. So that's the only place you're going to see a tax for the Forest Preserve District. And actually, we're about a penny and a half on a dollar. So we're your smallest taxing agency here in DuPage. This is that slide. Again, it's for the whole county, so your community might have a slightly different mix, but this is the average throughout DuPage County, and no matter what the average, we're pretty much at the bottom at a penny and a half of that, or $1.50 of every 100, whatever way you want to look at it. So the last time we went to referendum was 2006. We said we would buy some land. We bought additional 639 acres, and we've restored 8,500 acres since 2006. We've seen our annual visitation actually double. During COVID, we had years where we were over 6 million visits. For those 2 years, we have actually leveled off at about 5.5 million visits the last couple of years. So we're still very, very high in people's priority list, and we're proud of that. We have a tripling in cost, as you can see, for our natural resource restoration. So when we go do those woodland or restorations in the rivers, it's much more expensive today. And we actually used to be a larger part of your tax bill. So in 2006, we were about 2.3 cents. And like I said, we're down to about a penny and a half. So that just gives you a little historical. We let some debt fall off, and we did a buyout for some of our most expensive employees. So we went from about 330 employees down to 280. And you can see the drop off there when we did that. And we actually are only up at 285. So we haven't grown back out, and we've stayed rather stagnant. And so this is just trying to make sure that we're right-sized. So really, they're talking about a limiting rate there. They're going to talk about some things that'll be specific language on the ballot, but I'll tell you how it means in your dollars or for your home. One of the things that we are limited by is the 5% annually. We take that just about every year, but it just hasn't helped us keep up enough. So this is where we can see what exactly the dollars are. So in 2006, this is per $100. It was $2.30. Today it's about $1.50. We're actually just trying to get to about $1.90, which would still leave us at the bottom, but really right-size us for hopefully the next 10 to 15 years. It shows about $1 a month. If you own 100,000, that's not too many people. Choose DuPage says the average homeowner is about 308,000, so that middle lane is going to be most people, I guess, in the middle. But we know there's plenty of people with $500,000 or $1 million homes in DuPage County, so we just put one of them up there. You can see it's about $3 a month or $35 for the year for that 300,000, and a little under $60 if you own a $500,000 home. The 300,000, I think, right now is about $120 per year, because that's where my home happens to reside. So, why are we doing this now, or why is this important? We voted 7-0 to put it on the ballot in July, bipartisan initiative for our board. What we want to do, obviously, is keep working on clean air and water and improve our stormwater situations. We've done that, throughout the Salt Creek region. We're actually doing it right now down the road at Fullersburg. We want to make sure we have healthy habitats and preserve the wildlife. We're starting to see a lot of eagles come back to DuPage, so if you haven't heard that already, you don't have to go too far. You don't have to go back out to the Fox anymore. They're here in DuPage, quite a few spots. So we're going to continue to do those things. It's really critical. I was a park ranger, so to have the safe and clean preserves is really one of the most important things to me as we welcome families out, as we welcome our public out, that we have, I think, people in our community come out alone. Women could come out alone and feel safe in the forest preserves, so that's huge, and so we really pride ourselves in that. And then we want to make sure that everybody is welcome in the forest preserve, so we really are working hard on ADA and welcoming everybody out. And then, this is for operations. This is for those staff I talked about that we shrunk, a decade ago, but we have more people now, we have more lands, and we want to make sure that we're keeping our level of excellence, what we're known for. So we were kind of seeing here, I'll tell you about the case study. You see what happened there in 1939. That's all ag. So most of DuPage, if you didn't know, it was ag, throughout the decades, when settlement came. And so what you see in the bottom, what we want you to focus on is outside of the Forest Preserve District, because that's Springbrook Prairie. It's mostly homes. The one other green chunk is a golf course at the bottom left there. So we want to, if we can save some more, we want to. We identified about 1,000 acres that were still available. We really thought 250 was a really high quality number that are attached to current preserves. So if this passes, we want to buy more land because we know land just is going to keep going up, of course, and then once it's developed, it's harder to acquire it back to open space. We have a master plan we passed as a board in 2019. It was 32 projects, 15 initiatives. We're about halfway, a little over halfway through, so I'm incredibly proud of that. It didn't get put on a shelf. We want to continue to work through that. There are a lot of restoration projects. There are projects that are, not so incredibly exciting like bridges, but they're needed because if you don't take care of your infrastructure, that's not going to be welcoming to our public. And we have other roofs and other facility things, and then, capital and reinvestment into our organization. So one of the things I'm most proud of, whether you go back to Dewey Parati or Joe Cantori or myself, we are 35 years in running in financial reporting excellence. We get an award on that. We are AAA rated and bonded, so we are in fantastic fiscal shape. And then we, of course, got our audit. And one of the things that we've done the last couple of years that we've won an award for is we actually have a very friendly way to look at our economics because not everyone's great with numbers. And it's won a couple of awards. That's on our website, so you can go back and look at the last couple of years. So we're going to continue to do that. Uses a lot of graphs and things just to make people understand it a little even easier. And so we'll continue to be transparent. If you go on our website, we have open payroll, so you can see payroll. We have open checkbook, which is all the things that the board passes. We do have all of the board meetings on tape for the past decade. So if you guys are having trouble sleeping and you want to, watch me go on about the Forest Reserve, you're more than welcome. There's 10 years. You can even watch former presidents do it, so it's pretty exciting. And so what we're trying to do as an organization, because ethically and legally, I can't tell you how to vote, but we want people to be educated why we think it's important. We want people to know the facts so they can know exactly what the numbers are. They can know all the information I'm sharing with you, of course, is on our website. I have some business cards back on the table that are not my name. They're just Forest Preserve business cards that'll take you right to our website location for all this information. So you can easily look it up. So we're just trying to get those to voters to have the facts. With that, of course, that early voting starting, the mail-in voting starting, and then, of course, our election day is November 5th this year. So one of the things I really, want you guys to take away from this is that, we're really proud. We think we're doing an excellent standard for our community. We know clean air and clean water are incredibly important, and we just want to keep doing more restoration to highlight that. We've done dozens of miles of river restoration. As you saw, we have 47 miles. So we just want to continue working with our partners. I ran into Mayor Morley the other day, and he was supporting the dam removal a few years ago, so I thanked him. And we just want to keep doing those kind of projects where we see a lot cleaner water and better outcomes for our residents. And with that, I'll open it up.
Thank you. I have a question here. When was the last time the DuPage Forest Preserve acquired land in eastern DuPage County to protect it from development?
Well, we don't necessarily, it's not a goal to protect from development. So we really want to try to capture high quality open space. So there are times that maybe not really aligned with where the development is, where we'd want our spaces. So we bought some land in Oak Brook, and it was a few years ago now, for the project that we're currently doing. It was an acre attached to Fullersburg Woods. I think so far in my leadership, we bought about 50 acres with 7 or 8 different purchases, so nothing super huge. We did have a recent one in the paper that's kind of in the middle. I don't know if it's quite on the eastern half. We'd have to get the calendar out, but Bulger Farm, which is, I guess it's on Leask Lane, just east of Naperville Road. It's 35 acres, and we have not closed on that deal, but we have come to an agreement in principle, so I'm very hopeful to close this fall.
Thank you. Well, that ends our presentation. Oops, apparently we have another question. Okay. you. How is climate change impacting forest preserve plans and costs? Does the referendum account for this?
Yeah, it's certainly something. We do have a sustainability plan in place. We actually have done a lot of investment in solar. Part of that is because it's an organization, we try to do green investments because we believe that's who we are. But they're really fiscally very sound investments at this time. A lot of the paybacks have been under 10 years, actually, recently. On these investments. We are doing our first geothermal. And if you don't know what geothermal is, it's 450 feet down in Glen Ellen at the DuPage Wildlife and Conservation Center at Willowbrook, where we take in over 11,000 animals. And so that'll actually be our first foray into net zero. And net zero means that we don't have any carbon used at that. Once we get that facility operating, we'll be doing the geothermal with a large solar array. So we have actually tried to factor in all of the different things about reducing carbon and really the considerations with climate change. And one of the huge benefits for our community, of course, is 1/8 of the land is forest preserve. Well, I know people, it's of course, trees are fantastic, but, wetlands hold a lot of carbon. Prairies, we're the prairie state, not too many prairies around Illinois anymore. Prairies hold a lot of carbon. So these land holdings are incredibly beneficial, whatever they are. They don't have to be just a woodland. They can be a wetland, a marsh, or a prairie, and they're going to hold a lot of carbon for our community, and that's obviously going to give us that clean air that we talk about. And when we restore it, I mean, there's a little bit of a misnomer, I think, that we're taking out a lot of things. And you're right. But those things block out is our next generation of oaks. And so we're working with the Morton Arboretum right now as part of CRTI, Chicago Region Trees Initiative, to start that next generation of oaks, because we're concerned that our oaks are aging at the same rate, right? We want different age oaks. And so they're planting oaks all around Chicagoland. We're a partner in that, of course, because we have a beautiful amount of oak ecosystem. And so really different ways that we're trying to help buffer our community for climate change. And of course, the final one I'll mention is we talked about the stormwater. When we did the project along Saw Creek up in Addison at the Preserved Oak Meadows, we took in 20 million gallons more stormwater. So we took 27 holes of golf down to 18. Apparently that's not a great business decision, but we're doing fine. But we took in 20 million gallons more because we added 35 acres of wetland. And again, if you haven't been up there, I would encourage you to go take a walk. We close November 1st for golf. We're open for hiking, and we're open for you to come on out biking and walk that. It's a golf preserve, and you're going to be surprised if you've never seen it and you've seen other golf courses, because they're going to have a lot of grass at most golf courses, and we have native plants. So it's an oak ecosystem prairie, and mixed in with the re-meandered river where we took out 2 low-head dams, and so incredibly proud of that. So if you haven't got a chance, get on up there, and if you like food, Greenway Tap's pretty good.
Tell me where that golf course is.
So that is just off of 3rd Avenue, Oak Meadows Drive, and just west of Route 83.
Okay, thank you. What is the Forest Preserve District doing for accessibility for residents with disabilities?
Well, that's a great question. So we host, of course, a lot of different events for people with special needs, for people with accessibility issues. We are trying to, our trails are mostly ADA. We're trying to, the ones that are grandfathered in, if we can, bring those up to code. And then other things like we did an ADA pier and an ADA boat launch at Blackwell, one of our busiest preserves and one of the ones that we see the most usage. And so what that means is, of course, obviously in a wheelchair you can get out there safely, and then that boat launch is for everybody, because it's really hard to get into a kayak or canoe, okay? It can be a little frustrating because obviously you're getting into water and it's not very stable. So you really actually can get in there very easily, and there's even a video on our website if you want to look at it. But if you go out there, it's for everybody to use, because I like using it. It's much easier to get in and out that way with the ADA accessibility. And so we're doing a study right now to try to make sure that where we have opportunities to improve facilities, we're putting an elevator in at Donata House, so you can get to the 2nd floor. We're looking at putting one in at Mays Lake in the future. So we want to continue to work through as we, improve things to make sure people of all needs can get their needs met.
Thank you. Do you have, this is a question from me, based on one of the previous sessions.
Yeah.
Do you have intergovernmental partnerships with other like agencies?
So we have about 1,000 intergovernmental agreements in DuPage County, and that's not an exaggeration. So if you go up and down the Salt Creek Greenway Trail, you'll see a lot of different signs on that. And so we actually spearheaded that trail connectivity. You'll see Elmhurst, you'll see Elmhurst Park District, you'll see Addison Park District. Because of road frontages, because of trails, because of the different things throughout different communities, we literally have 1,000 intergovernmental agreements. The county's the biggest one, of course, because we do a lot of work with them, have a great relationship with them. We do quarterly meetings, and I've met with Chair Cronin and now Chair Conroy. And so it is a big part of who we are, is to work with others. I want to highlight one that if you haven't heard of, the DuPage River Salt Creek Work Group. And you're like, what is that? It is the group that takes a small part of the wastewater fees, and instead of building new wastewater treatment plants to help fix the rivers, much more cheaply and effectively, in the first time in the history of the United States of America, the EPA said, give it a try. And so when you see improved numbers in your river quality, it's because the DuPage River Salt Creek Work Group and the Forest Preserve partnered together. And the DuPage River Salt Creek Work Group is every single community in DuPage. So when I was thanking Mayor Morley, it's because he's part of the Elmhurst is part of that group. Every single community in DuPage is part of that group because we all have wastewater. But instead of trying to manufacture a solution, we let Mother Nature do what the work was and re-meander those rivers and put plugs in. And we grow mussels. We propagate mussels at the Urban Stream Research Center. So that's at Blackwell Forest Preserve. We're the only ones in the state of Illinois. Why would we propagate mussels? They're not the kind you eat. They're not the kind on my arms. They're the kind that clean water. So one little tiny mussel can clean a liter a day. So you'd want thousands, right? You'd want millions. You'd want billions. And so that's what we do. And we have them all over Chicagoland. We partnered with the University of Chicago. We've partnered with Kane County and Lake County. And we recently partnered, which I wasn't sure was going to work out, but I heard you can now get in the Chicago River. By the way, you'll see giant mussels from DuPage floating in that river now. So we're pretty proud of that program for clean water.
Thank you. Our part of this forum is now over, and what I would suggest that you do, if you need more information, visit the Nonpartisan Illinois Voter Guide, illinoisvoterguide.org, or the DuPage Forest Preserve District website. And as Mr. Hebreard said, there are cards in the back. Your participation as a voter is essential to the democracy that we hold dear. Please remember to vote on or before November 5th, as one vote can decide the election, and then one vote could be yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you.